Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast, where, of course, we will be discussing this evening Tottenham Hotspur's huge game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday when we face Liverpool in the Premier League. Of course, both teams are unbeaten so far in this league season. It should be a classic game Saturday evening. I've got three very special guests, as normal, to talk about this preview and get their feelings and thoughts on the season so far. We've got Craig Dearman back with us. Craig, how are you?
I'm all good, Chris. Yeah, I'm all good. Looking forward to the game tomorrow, which we said off air. It's like we haven't done that for a few years, have we? Looking forward to Liverpool game. So I think we're in with a real chance tomorrow, and looking forward to discussing it tonight.
We've also got channel regular Josh Cowan back with us. Josh, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Chris. Looking forward to a chat, and yeah, very happy to be a Tottenham fan at the moment. I remember saying to you, I'm not enjoying watching Tottenham. I think not too many times, not like a few videos ago, but now I'm really enjoying watching Spurs. So yeah, makes a big change. Good game against Arsenal. Happy with that result, and looking forward to this game at the weekend, which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
And we've also got Matt Jones back with us. Matt, how are you?
Yeah, good evening, guys. Yeah, great to be back, and yeah, it's nice to see things going in the right direction on the pitch now as well. So yeah, all good.
Nice to see so many smiling faces on this podcast, I tell you. I would just like to say that we are live at the moment on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. You can also get this podcast on all audio platforms as well. And I would just like to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to everybody who has watched and listened to this this show and this channel for the last month, because we've had a record 4 million views on YouTube in the past month. Unbelievable numbers. We've also been voted the #1 football podcast in South Korea, Sweden and South Africa. We've been named in the 25 best UK podcast lists on FeedSpot. We're in number 19. And I'm absolutely delighted to say as well that we are a finalist at this year's Football Content Awards as best content. We have now been shortlisted 8 times in 4 years. So thank you so much to everybody for all of your fantastic support. I often get asked as well, how do you become a guest on this channel? Simply email in tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. And if you'd like to come on, then please do so. Please do get in touch. Craig, let's start the show with you. Of course, we drew 2-2 at the Emirates against Arsenal last weekend. Your thoughts very quickly on that game, your thoughts on the season so far and how you're feeling, because I'm going to say it again, you know, you and I have recorded many podcasts together, and there have been some dark times over the last couple of years, but everyone's feeling good again.
Yeah, certainly are. And just touching on what you said, Chris, about those numbers, they're astronomical. They're unbelievable. 4 million. You just can't comprehend that, can you? So it's just staggering numbers, which is brilliant, and all the things the channel's up for as well. It's well deserved as well, Chris, may I say. I'm on a high at the moment, talking about Tottenham, watching Tottenham. It's just great to see us back where we want to be. I know we're not quite there yet, and a lot of work to do, but it's just, the #1 thing for me, what I said the other night when I was on, is just enjoying watching Tottenham again. You know, actually looking forward to games, the big games, the smaller games. You know, the North London derby. I had that buzz back. You know, I woke up Sunday morning and was just absolutely buzzing. Couldn't wait for that game. And like the rest of us, during the game, you want it to end. You want it to be over as quickly as it starts. It's not one of those games you don't want to finish. But it's just brilliant to have. I know it's a cliche, but have our Tottenham back, because I think we're well on the way to getting it, if not already. The North London derby was the same emotions that I've always felt. I predicted a 2-2 draw, so I was quite pleased I got that result right, even though obviously I would have took the win quite happily. Really good performance. We didn't quit. We didn't give up. We got back into it. We wouldn't have done that last season. In fact, when Conte, I think, bought on Emerson Royale, was it? Or so he bought on somebody defensive, didn't he? And it was like you're giving up. You're like protecting a defeat, essentially. It's just totally different. It's just so good to watch us again. The players seem to be so much happier. walking around with smiles on their faces. It just seems like we've got that family feel back. And I'll tell you what, long may it continue. And this guy Ange has done wonders. And I just hope that we can get a few more through the door in January. The ones he wants out the door. And I think we're well on the way to having a much better squad next summer. And hopefully we'll be back in Europe as well. I know I'm getting ahead of myself there, but it's just so easy to talk like that when you've got the feeling we've all got at the moment and just happy to watch Tottenham again.
Craig, do you remember when we had Ali on, a good friend of yours, Celtic fan, just before our Premier League season started? He came on this channel and we asked him many questions, you and I, about Ange Postecoglou. You know, a lot of people had a lot of doubts. We asked him a lot of questions and he kept coming back with all these positive answers. And both of us said, well, you know, what are the bad points about Ange Postecoglou? And he replied with his jumpers. That's the only bad thing he could find with Ange Postecoglou. He's been right so far, hasn't he?
Honestly, he has. The only thing I would say about that is I thought, from what Elliot told us, he was going to take the cup competitions. I hasten to use the word seriously because I think he obviously wanted to win, but I think the only block was making the 9 changes. I think most of us appreciate that was probably a mistake. But if you're looking at the league and the season as a whole, Ali was spot on. In fact, Ali regularly messages me saying, I was right. I told you, didn't I? I told you. And he's very keen to come back on. So I think we've got to get him back on, Chris, because I think that'd be a good show in itself. But yeah, he was spot on. None of us knew anything about Ange Postecoglou, really. And he's just proved people wrong, including myself at the start. I was a bit dismissive of it. More fool me. He's just been an absolute revelation. Absolutely brilliant manager.
Josh, you've also come on this show quite often over the last couple of years when we've been through those dark times. You're enjoying it again, aren't you?
Yeah. We have gone through some absolutely horrible phases where we've just lacked identity, which is what I've said on the channel a lot. And now it feels like under Postecoglou, we've got that identity back. We do look like a homogenous side again. We're not splintered into these 2 players here, they're not good enough, and we've got Harry Kane to kind of dig us out. Now it's an 11 that's out there that I trust as a fan. I feel confident in as a fan that's my Tottenham, and I can trust every single one of them out there. There's not a certain defender who's going to let us down on the pitch, or there's not some player who's the best player on the pitch. I see them all as absolute quality, and that is down not only to Postecoglou but also down to good recruitment, because I think we've got in some real star players. Like, as I said a couple of weeks ago, James Maddison, fantastic. Even against Arsenal, getting those 2 assists and developing that nice bond with Sonny, which is really nice to see. And Sonny as well, incredible in that game against Arsenal, which is really good to see, because after he lost Harry Kane, you might have thought Son might have suffered a bit, but they're all thriving out there, Chris. We're all thriving as a fan base. We're all really happy. The smiles are out. I'm really looking forward to watching us against Liverpool. But yeah, it's such a nice feeling. I kind of forgot what it felt like under Poch, and we would always talk about it, like how good it was, and how it wasn't so good under Conte and Mourinho. And there were moments of good, but it feels like we're back. And although it's a bit of a metaphor, and we've got our Tottenham back, etc., as Craig said, it does feel that way as a fan, and I'm really relishing it, Chris.
Josh, what did you make of the Arsenal game last weekend? Because, of course, a number of fans, a number of pundits thought that Arsenal were going to win the game very comfortably, and I think a lot of people are very surprised by Tottenham.
Yeah, I think we humbled a certain Paul Merson. Who said we were going to get absolutely battered. I watched with my mate Hart and my girlfriend, and just really enjoyed it. I honestly sat there and I thought, I'm really enjoying this game. I usually absolutely hate the North London derby. It's the one game apart from Chelsea away, as we all don't like Chelsea away, and hopefully we can break that curse as well under Postecoglou. It's the one game I really just hate. And now I found that really enjoyable, how he came back not once but twice, going 1-0 down, making defensive mistake from Romero, coming back in with that Sonny goal, and then going 2-1 down, and then coming back again and we could have won it at the end with a couple of chances. And I remember a cross in, and if Sonny was there, but he was taken off. But yeah, I felt confident. And I was watching it in my student accommodation, and a couple of gooners came in, and they sat with us, with a couple of Tottenham fans that I know, and they were saying they were complimenting Spurs. They were saying this is not top Spur. This is a new Tottenham. They look dangerous, and I feel like hopefully we can give Liverpool a game this weekend, and I think we can do great things under Postecoglou. He's a great manager, as your mate Ali said. I felt exactly the same as you, Craig. I thought, who is this guy coming in? I don't know what Daniel Levy's doing. He's doing the same old cheap option, but I tell you what, he's proved us all wrong. And that's all you want in a manager. It's actions speak louder than words, Chris. And his actions are absolutely they've utterly flabbergasted me, to be quite honest. He's done a fantastic job.
Matt, let's come to you. Let's talk about the North London derby last weekend. Of course, James Maddison has come out midweek and said that Spurs aren't Spursy anymore. Things are changing. Do you feel like that? Do you feel really positive right now?
Definitely. I think we've got to temper it a bit, but 6 games in, won 4, drawn 2, unbeaten. Obviously, against the backdrop of losing Kane, Postecoglou's come in and done, so far so good, really encouraging. And for me, it's so early in the process, I think we expected him to settle in this quickly. And given that, I think we're only going to get stronger. And I think with Maddison, he's touched on a point there. I think it was Adrian in the comments picked up on it as well. For me, it's resilience. It's what we're seeing now. We've gone behind in a few games now, and we keep coming back. And what I was really encouraged about against Arsenal is the fact that we carried on playing the same way. We didn't drop back. We had to withstand the pressure a bit in that first half, weathered the storm well, and then second half, obviously, that they made a few changes. And I think it was that midfield battle. Basuma, Maddison, they all stepped up, and for me, they got control of that midfield, and they're showing a real resilience. So yeah, I can see where he's coming from, and kind of long may it continue. I think with the new players as well, it's worth picking up on that. That's no mean feat. A lot of changes from, if you look at the team last year that went to the Emirates, they're all establishing themselves very well, very quickly, and it's a young team. And like I said, they're only going to go from strength to strength. There will be blips. But it's looking good. It's in the right shape, and we're going in the right direction.
Are you surprised though, Matt, how quickly the fans are so on board with Postecoglou? Like after 6 games, it just that connection just feels incredible so quickly.
Yeah, and I think the results and the performances it's both, isn't it? It speaks for itself, and I think given how last season played out and the football, obviously we've been kind of accustomed to the last couple of years with that kind of low block defensive football. I think the fans are just really embracing it, and they're excited. And he's been a breath of fresh air, Postecoglou. He really has. He's open. There's no hidden messages. You can see the players are really buying into what he's trying to do, his philosophy. And I think as well, obviously there's been many kind of sources come out recently where you make a mistake, don't worry, go again, try and keep playing that philosophy. And it's good to see, and you can see they're buying into it. And like I say, if we were going to be here 6 games in, unbeaten, snap your hand off, and I think we're in good shape going into the game tomorrow now.
Craig, a number of players have said that they consider him like a dad. It's and he come out in his press conference today and said, "Practice my jumpers." He referenced the jumpers again.
Yeah.
But this connection, with the new players, like as Matt mentioned there, with all of the new players coming in, it's like all of these players have been at Tottenham for years. They just seem to have fitted in extremely well. Is that all down to Postecoglou?
Pretty much, yeah. And who's the people who he surrounds himself with? I mean, just goes to show you that he hasn't got a backroom team. He chooses essentially different people at clubs he goes to. So it's the man management, and I think that's been sorely missing. Especially Conte didn't seem to be much of a man manager for everybody. Some players obviously liked him, but hearing obviously some didn't. And the same with Mourinho. You've only got to listen to the Dele Alli interview with Gary Neville when he talked about his issues. It was quite clear he didn't really like Mourinho. And I think he's just done what he does, for want of a better word. He just treats everybody how they want to be treated, I suppose, is what I'm saying. You know, he knows when to put an arm around somebody's shoulder, and when they say that you either shout at somebody or need an arm around them, I just can't see him getting really mentally annoyed and going into one. I think he's probably got a calm demeanour in the dressing room, regardless of what's been going on, and he just knows how to speak to people. You know.
Well, Craig, can I just say that Sheffield United game, I was right behind the dugout when we got that winner in the 100th minute, and Postecoglou, he was like the calmest person in that stadium. And even the subs were trying to celebrate even before the final whistle had gone. And he was saying, you know, calm down, calm down. He was like the calmest person. We've gone from like Antonio Conte, from running up and down the touchline, screaming and shouting. And I know a lot of fans liked that at the time. I did. But we've gone like completely full circle of a guy now that is like completely calm and just don't worry about it. We've not got the 3 points yet.
Yeah, and I think that is a great point to make, because when I was watching him during the Fulham game, because he was so unanimated, when you're losing, it's almost like, oh, come on, mate, show us a bit of emotion, do something. But it just goes to show that is what he's like, regardless of when we're losing, drawing, or winning. And I think that's great. And I love the Conte, but I wasn't his biggest fan, but I did love the passion he showed. But obviously, there's two sides to that, wasn't there? And some of the players didn't like that. So for me, Andrew's got it spot on, absolutely spot on, and it comes naturally to him. You can't fake that. That is what he's like, isn't it? And he seems so down to earth. And where the players call him their dad, I think that's a good thing. It can only be a good thing. And I just love him, what he's doing at the club at the moment. It's just everything's good in the world of sport, isn't it? And, you know, Ryder Cup with 6.5 to 1.5 to the Yanks, mate, got 4 points in this morning's session. So what's not to like? Sport's good at the moment.
Josh, of course, we face Liverpool on Saturday in the Premier League. How are you feeling ahead of this game? Because we very rarely get a win against Liverpool. I'll go through some stats later on in the stream. But, you know, going into this game against Liverpool, many people have said that Spurs haven't faced anyone yet. Of course, we gave Arsenal a real game. We perhaps could have even won it in the last seconds of the game through Richarlison at the Emirates last weekend. But, you know, going into this game against Liverpool, surely this is probably the biggest test yet.
Yeah, it is a big test, and it's a difficult opponent. I mean, they're flying at the moment. I was just looking at some of the stats, Chris, and they've scored 3 goals in 80% of their last games. At the beginning of this season, they've played 10 in all competitions, including a few pre-season. They've scored in 8 games 3 goals in each game. So they're scoring a lot of goals, and hopefully Romero and Van der Ven and the boys at the back can keep them out. I think they're going to be a difficult team to play. They've got their quality back. They, like us, I think, went through a bit of a tough period. But they seem to be kind of resurging. They've got a bit of a revival. They're second in the league. I think it's going to be a great game. Hopefully, we can bring it to them. Postecoglou's not going to change his style. Like we showed against Arsenal. We've had a nice rest this week. I expect them all to be firing on all cylinders, to be fair. I hope it's just like Arsenal. And I think, personally, we always seem to get mugged off by Liverpool. The amount of times we've got a draw right in the bag, and then they've been jammy in the last minute, and Firmino scored or something. He always used to score against us, but he's gone now. I hope that we can do that to them. That's what I want. I want a late winner, just something to rub salt in the wound after that awful game at the end of last season, where Richarlison, who scored and made it, whatever it was, the high scoring game, and then we went and conceded in the last minute. Shocking that was. I hope we can avenge that and get a result against Liverpool, because if I'm not mistaken, Chris, is the last time that we beat Liverpool that 4-1 game.
Yes.
I remember watching that game on my laptop on holiday, and I was like, that's a joke. We've got to change that. And if Ange can deliver us a result this weekend, that's big. Getting a draw against Arsenal away, which is a very difficult place to go away for us, and then getting a result against Liverpool, that shows us that we're up there and we're fighting for Europe, and that we're not just mucking around. So I hope we can. I think it's going to be difficult, but I believe in them. I feel confident, Chris. I feel really, really confident as a fan. And even Liverpool, who look dangerous, I think we can handle them. And yeah, I'll be expecting at a minimum. I think with our performance levels, a draw would be a good result. I think I'd take a draw.
Matt, I'm glad that Josh referenced that game back in October 2017 when, of course, we were building a new stadium. We played Liverpool at Wembley. We beat them 4-1. Comfortable winners on the day. And when you think what Liverpool have achieved in the last 6 years, and of course, we haven't won any trophies in that period of time. But, I think it's fair to say that Spurs were a better team on the day and during that season than Liverpool. And then Liverpool went out with a shopping list and identified the players that they wanted. Van Dijk, the goalkeeper, other players they went out and bought. And of course, became a very successful team, winning trophy after trophy under Klopp. But our only win, that one in October 2017, our only win against Liverpool in the most recent 23 games with them in all competitions. We need a win against this lot.
Not wrong. Absolutely shocking. But we are in a good place. We are at home. I do feel we are due a bit of luck against them. Yes, as Josh says, they're scoring goals. I think I'm right in saying they've conceded in each game, and I do think their defence can be got at. We do have pace in that front line. I think Son tends to get a goal against them. So I think they can be got at. And I think for me, what's going to be key is the midfield battle, because obviously they're refreshed, aren't they? They've almost been going through a bit of a rebuild themselves. And in that midfield, obviously they've got McAllister, they've got the lad that's coming from Leipzig, I think. And obviously we've got Maddison hopefully playing in there, Basuma and Salah. So I think the midfield battle, that's going to be a key thing, that battle in there. But we're due a result against them. And why not? I think I said before this run of fixtures, let's see where we are. Go to Arsenal, try and get something positive from there. And ideally, if you can take 4 points from the 2 games, it really shapes us up into a good position with the fixtures for October and November. But it's going to be tough. Really tough. But as Josh said, Ange is going to change the way he approaches the game, and we need to go front foot and take it to them, because I do think the defence can be got at, for sure.
Matt, of course, you're a season ticket holder at Spurs, and the atmosphere. Talk to people about the atmosphere. What it's been like at the Man United home game, the Sheffield United home game. Particularly when those last 2 goals went in to win the game. The atmosphere has been incredible since Postecoglou's arrived as well.
Our fans are just outstanding, home and away. But yeah, that's been massively noticeable at the ground. And for me, so that Man United game, really what the passion was there. It felt united, and for me, it was really the best atmosphere since we had Arsenal at home that night, going back a couple of seasons. So Man United, Sheffield United, obviously we got really behind them and got that injury time winner, and that was just electric. And I think fans need to, will play their part tomorrow, and I think can push them, can really push them, and it's just great to have that atmosphere back, Chris. Because it has been tough, certainly last season. I've not heard the stadium like that since the Arsenal game, going back 2 seasons ago now.
Yeah. Craig, let's come to you. Liverpool are on a 17-game unbeaten run in the Premier League, dating back to April, winning 12 and drawing 5. 7 consecutive victories in all competitions, scoring 20 goals, but only keeping 1 clean sheet. Klopp's side have conceded first goal in each of their past 3 away games, but have come back to win all matches.
Yeah, it seems familiar story. That does, doesn't it? It's you get in front against Liverpool, you can't take anything for granted, and that's why I think it's going to be a good game. Because Matt was so right with what he said. I think you can get at them. I think they're going to give you a chance. I think you can get in behind them. They're going to come at us. We're going to go at them. I thought the North London derby was a cracking game to watch. If it was a neutral watching that, I reckon that was really cracking game to watch when you got no dog in the fight, so to speak. I think this Liverpool game is going to be even better. They don't lie down. We don't lie down now. We know that. And the midfield could be where the game is won or lost. And I just think if we can get an early goal, because we haven't started fast, have we? Really, it would be lovely to see us start fast. We were up against it at the Emirates last week, early doors. They really did come at us, and we grew into the game. I think with Liverpool, they can go a couple of goals up so quick with Mo Salah. You know, dangerous players, and if we can't concede early, I don't think, because if you give Liverpool have a foot in the door, they're just gonna steamroll you sometimes. But if we can fight back against them and push up the pitch and get a bit higher up the pitch, ideally than we did against Arsenal in the first 20 minutes of last week, I think we got a real chance, to be honest. I know the yellow card to Udogie didn't help. But I thought, to be honest, he showed immense maturity coming through that. I did worry when he got the card. I thought he was outstanding. You know, the way he played after that, didn't shirk any challenges. I thought it was fantastic. And like I say, last week, we would have rolled over. We don't roll over anymore. I think even if Liverpool do get a goal, we will come back at them. You know, and we've all got to be patient. And because Ange trusted in it. The game the other week where there was 10, 12 minutes of added time. Was it Sheffield United, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I thought that game was gone. I thought we was going to get a draw. I just couldn't see us winning it. And what a way to end the game. So, look, when he said, and again, harping back on what Ali said, we never stop was what he said. He said it a number of times. And that is us. We never stop. And you go right till that final whistle. He said the other week, didn't he? Half hour. Bring it on, mate. You know, you don't care. Our players are so fit now, and it's so good to see.
Well, Tottenham have claimed 8 points from losing positions this season, bettered only by Liverpool, which is 9. And talking about Postecoglou's home record, Craig, Postecoglou is unbeaten in all 40 league home matches in charge of Celtic and Spurs, winning 35 and drawing 5. That's an incredible record, Josh, isn't it?
That is incredible. Like, that's what a record. It seems like a game of records. All these unbeaten streaks and lots of goals being scored. I just can't predict it, Chris, what's going to happen. But Postecoglou, if he's won so many home games, he's got a spirit, as Matt said. The stadium's rocking. The fans are going to be behind the team. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. I'm very jealous I haven't got tickets. Unfortunately, it's a train strike. But yeah, I think hopefully if the stadium can get behind the boys and we start well, we'll weather the storm. Even if Liverpool come at us, Postecoglou can deliver the goods. I believe in him, and I think although he does look calm on the touchlines, and he looks calm as well in like the BBC interviews on Match of the Day and Sky Sports, etc. And he doesn't really look at the camera much in these interviews. However, I've seen some behind-the-scenes footage from his time as Australian manager in Celtic, and he can be very direct, doesn't take any rubbish. It may be the best way to put it. I feel like even if we...
Isn't that the best way to be?
I agree, Chris. I don't think Conte prancing up and down the kind of touchline was it incredible. Thinking about it now, at the time, yeah, it was like, oh, passion. Show some more passion, more energy, kind of thing. But Postecoglou is exactly the man we need, and I hope we can get a result this weekend. And I'm sure he's planned it all out. As I said, they've had lots of time. One of the benefits for us not having any European football is he's got lots of time midweek to kind of train these boys and get them ready for these weekend games. And like we said, the only thing that's kind of gone wrong is getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup, which is a bit of a shame. But again, that just provides us with even more focus on the Premier League. And we should be looking to finish as high as we can. And hopefully that will be in the top 4 and we can get back into Champions League. But yeah, I think yeah, it's going to be a great game, Chris. It's going to be a cracker. And I agree with everything that Craig said. I think it's going to be even better than that Arsenal game. And I'm sure the neutral will be watching it on television if it's being broadcast.
It is live on Sky Sports, I think. Matt, let's come to you. Now, the team news, Ange Postecoglou said in his press conference on Friday that Brennan Johnson is out of this game. So, of course, he will have to make at least one change to the starting 11 that started against Arsenal last weekend. Who is going to replace Brennan Johnson for you? Solomon? Would it be Richarlison? Because, of course, I often think that would he have been a little bit disappointed last weekend not starting that Arsenal game, particularly after the 20 minutes that he had against Sheffield United, having that huge impact in that game, providing an assist and, of course, scoring a goal?
Yeah, I think it will be Solomon, personally, but he may mix it up. I hope he goes with Richarlison. He'll be fired up for Liverpool, and obviously got his goal there at Anfield last season, didn't he? So
yeah,
be interesting to see. But I think it'll be unchanged bar Solomon coming in for Johnson. Yeah, but we'll see. I think it's going to be an interesting game, and I think it'll be expansive. It will be open. It'll be end to end. I think we've just got to be wary at the back end with their front three, because I think he'll probably start with Salah, Nunes, and with the other chap up front, won't he? So it's Diaz, and Diaz is a live wire. So it's going to be interesting to see how we can kind of counter that. But I think, I maintain, it comes down to that midfield battle. Got to win that, and got to get control of the midfield.
Craig and Josh, can I ask you that same question? Who you think will replace Brennan Johnson?
It's a tough one. You could put either in on the left. It all depends really if he wants to keep Sonny through the middle. I think depending on Richarlison, because he likes people to be able to play in all three different positions, and I would argue that all of them can. All of our front three can. I've never seen Kulusevski right up top, but if you're going to, I wouldn't be surprised to see Richarlison come in. To be honest, whether that be on the left and Sonny through the middle, I think he'll just get the nod over Solomon, but really it could be either, to be honest.
Surely though, Craig, Son is through the centre all day long now. Surely Son's not going to go out ever go out to the left again.
He should be, and he's staking a claim for that number 9 slot, if you like. I mean, I don't know who is the top scorer in the Premier League at the moment. Son must be up there, mustn't he?
He's second. He's second. Haaland's obviously first.
What a surprise! Yeah, to have a player like him, my God, wow. But yeah, you're right. He's banging in the goals again. So, as a manager, you would probably stick with that. But bringing Richarlison in on the left or Solomon, I think you probably go with Richarlison, probably for the reasons that Matt said, that he got his goal at Liverpool, and coming from Everton, I think that will fire him up even more. So yeah, I'll go with Richarlison.
Josh, what do you think?
I've got an opposite view. I think, although I wouldn't mind seeing Richarlison, I don't mind who plays. I just think Ange does like to start Solomon, and he has been starting him and bring him off the bench in the last couple of games. I don't see Sonny being changed, as you guys said. Like he's been fantastic as a 9 up front, and obviously wasn't very effective on the wing for quite a long time. So yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised seeing Solomon on the lineup sheet, but I wouldn't mind seeing Richarlison in there. I think he'll do a great job. He has got that fire in his belly, and obviously the Everton connection. He'll be fired up, and he wants to be starting, and he wants to be scoring goals, especially after he said he was very kind of upset, and there was a bit of talk about mental health with Ange. It'll be good for him to get another goal, and he obviously needs to keep in the Brazilian national team. I think he got called up again, but if he's not starting, they will probably drop him. So I can feel that he probably wants to be starting and scoring lots of goals, and we've just got to get behind him, because I think he is a talented footballer, and he was fantastic at the World Cup, and he's got something inside of him. He's a special player, but I think he just needs to kind of let loose a bit, relax a bit. And if there's one man who can help him do that, it's Postecoglou. And whoever starts, they've got our full support at the end of the day. I don't think one player or the other I'm going to be upset. I'm not going to be like, oh, why is he playing like we were in the past, kind of thing. So yeah, whoever starts, they've got our support, and I'm sure they'll do a fantastic job.
Matt, are you surprised on how well HeungMin Son has done in that central position under Postecoglou this season so far?
Not really. No, I think it wasn't working at the beginning, was it, out on the left? I think with Kane moving out, obviously, unfortunately, moving on, I think he's giving him a lift of confidence. Obviously, being captain as well, he feels that kind of sense of responsibility. And let's not forget, he's not carrying what he was carrying last season in terms of injuries. So, yeah, I think for him, it's given a new lease of life. And I think, as Craig rightly says, I think he's kind of nailing that position down, and he's looking effective. And that's what I liked last week at Arsenal. It's in the past, he's perhaps snatched at chances, but very calm, very collected for both goals, very clinical. Where you see lots of Jesus could have put them 2-0 up, snatched at it. And that's kind of where I think Richarlison kind of is at the moment. But no, for Son, I think he's found his position there, and I think he needs to stay there.
Craig, let's come to you. Of course, James Maddison and HeungMin Son have trained, as confirmed by Ange Postecoglou today in the press conference. Hopefully, them two will start against Liverpool on Saturday. Team news for Liverpool: Trent Alexander-Arnold is fit again after missing 4 games with a hamstring problem. Craig, what have you made of Liverpool so far this season, and how far can they go this season? Because, of course, they had their struggles last season.
Yeah. That's a bit of a blow, Trent being back, to be honest with you, because I think he's a fantastic player. So I'd have preferred him to be missing for another week. You're right. They have had struggles, and Van Dijk hasn't looked like the same player he was since his ACL, to be honest. As I said earlier, I think we can get at them. They've done well to this point. They've kind of gone under the radar because they've had such that drop off. The pundits haven't really been talking about them as often, have they? But they are a top 4 side. I think they got to be looking to get back into the top 4. I don't think they'll be looking any lower than that. I think they are. That's how competitive that is, isn't it? City, Liverpool, us. I'm going to throw us in the mix. Arsenal. United, Chelsea aren't doing particularly well. Never mind. But it is what it is. You can only what's the old cliche? You can only play the hand you dealt, and you can only play who's in front of you. And Liverpool have just been doing that consistently, same as us this season. They've got the points in the bag, and I think they're getting back to looking like a much more solid team. And Mo Salah has always scared the life out of me. I think he's a cracking player. I think Núñez was actually clocked at the fastest player in the Premier League last year. I'd love to see a foot race between him and Mickey van der Ven, because I think Mickey van der Ven is probably up there speed-wise. So I think that's going to be a good battle. They've got danger all over the park, Liverpool. We've, as I say, and I'll make you completely right, Matt, it's going to be a midfield battle, though, for me. I think Maddison's going to have to take the ball by the horns and take control of that, because if he's slipping those balls through, I think Sonny's got the pace on Van Dijk. There was a point when there was a stat when nobody had dribbled past Van Dijk for like a certain number of games. I think it's probably not the same thing now, but he's still a quality defender. So, we're going to have our work cut out, but I think they're there for the taking, to be honest.
Josh, similar question to you. What have you made of Liverpool so far this season? How far do you think that they can go?
I think they've been impressive. I've watched a little bit. I'm obviously not watching so much Liverpool, more Tottenham. But yeah, I think they've been impressive. My mate's a Liverpool fan. He seems very happy. I think Matt mentioned this new boy from RB Leipzig. I can't say his name. Szoboszlai, is it? He's apparently playing really well. He looks like a really good player. Sorry about the pronunciation. I mean, it's quite difficult to pronounce like Hungarian names. It's really difficult. But yeah, I think they look dangerous. They've done some nice recruitment. I haven't seen much of McAllister. I thought he was great at Brighton and for Argentina. I haven't seen too much of him in a Liverpool shirt personally. I don't know if the other chaps in the stream have.
He's been playing. He's a good player. Good player for them, definitely.
They've got a lot of danger, as Craig said as well. When you've got Mohamed Salah, it's like having Harry Kane in your team, isn't it? You've got a quality player who's been there for years. You know what he's got in the locker, and you've got to. You almost a bit like when we used to have Harry Kane. I know we've got to move on, but it's like you know they've got that quality. They've got a bit of an insurance policy in Mohamed Salah because he's just got such quality. So yeah, we've got to be right on top of our game. But as I said, Chris, those four at the back remind me of when we used to have Danny Rose, Carl Walker, Jan and Toby. Honestly, I feel so confident. Like Udogie, absolutely fantastic against Arsenal. I don't think we've had a wing back like him, and he's so young as well. He's only going to get better, and he just oozes class. He's absolutely fantastic going forward, defending. I thought he put Saka in his pocket for quite a lot of the game. And obviously Pedro Porro as well. I think he's been really good, really gone under the radar as well. But a lot of people thought he wasn't going to fit in the system of Ange. He didn't start a few of the first games, but I think he's been really good. I think he's done very well. And then the two boys at the back, obviously Romero got unlucky, very unlucky with those two mistakes. One being, I don't think there's much he could have done about the handball. It was so close to him. And there was obviously debate over whether it was a penalty or not. I think it was a penalty. They're going to be given these days. That's unlucky. I don't know about the first one where he kind of kneed it and it was an own goal. I don't know what you can do there. You can see what he's trying to do as a defender, trying to clear the ball. But again, unlucky. I think I wouldn't criticise him for it. It's not like he does that every week. And then Mickey van der Ven, as you said, he's come in and been absolutely fantastic. I would literally class him. He's up there with being one of the best centre backs in the Prem, alongside the likes of Romero, etc., and other players from other clubs. But he's brilliant, and I've got confidence in this back four. And even if Liverpool throw Szoboszlai and whoever else you can't pronounce at us, I think we'll be able to deal with them. To be fair, and like I think Matt said as well, they've conceded in every one of their games, so we're definitely we're going to get at them. We're going to score goals. We've just got to be defensively solid, and I trust that defence to do their job.
Well, talking about Mo Salah, he's been directly involved in 15 goals in his past 12 Premier League appearances, scoring 6 and assisting 9. And if Salah assists in this game against Spurs, he will become the first ever player in the Premier League to register an assist in 6 consecutive Premier League away games. Matt, let's come to you. Jurgen Klopp today in his press conference said that Ange seems to be a top bloke. Arteta last week said, I really like Ange. Are you used to all of these opposition managers liking our manager?
Unheard of, isn't it? Eh? Absolutely unheard of. But it's good, and it's good recognition on him. He's just a good guy and a good human being. And yeah, it's nice for us to be getting some kind of praise for our manager. And he's just, like I say, he's been a breath of fresh air, Ange. And I like his demeanour. I think what was really noticeable going back to the Arsenal game for me was, you see Arteta, so emotional. He's jumping around the whole way through. Ange is just calm, collected. And that I think that helps the players, to be honest with you. So yeah, welcome, Chris, is what I would say. It makes a change. But yeah, you just got to see how we go for the rest of the season, because there are going to be some blips, I'm sure, along the road. Yeah.
If you think back over the years, Matt, you had Nuno pretty much standing there, stroking his beard. You had Antonio Conte running up and down the touchline, going mad sometimes. You now got Ange being completely calm about everything. What do you want to see as a fan from our head coach? What do you want to see?
You do want to see that measured approach, definitely. You want that calmness, but I think like the Sheffield United game, or pegging Arsenal back in the North London derby, you want to see a bit of passion then. I think that's okay. We want to see that. And I think, Craig, you touched on it, kind of when we went behind at Fulham, sometimes a rocket doesn't hurt them if they need it. But yeah, I think a mix of the two. I mean, Conte, I did love Conte's passion. But yeah, I think you want to be kind of where kind of Ange is. And like I say, I think with a young team, that's what they need right now as well. He's, like you say, that see him as a dad. It's an arm around the shoulder. And I'm sure he'll tell them how it is, but he'll keep that within the changing room. Some need to kick up the backside, but I think he is exactly what we need right now. And yeah, I've just been so encouraged, because I genuinely didn't see it kind of panning out like this at the start. I thought it could be a few bumps, a bit like his time at Celtic. I think there was a few games there until he kind of got going, but so far so good.
Matt, I was extremely disappointed when we went out of the Carabao Cup against Fulham. Yeah. But do you think in some ways it has done us a favour in some of these games now by players being rested, having a week of complete normal training, not going to Carabao Cup games. James Maddison and HeungMin Son, the last couple of games, even Postecoglou said after the Arsenal game, they were struggling before the match. They've been struggling this week. Hopefully they will play in the Liverpool game, but I think injuries at some point may catch up with us. Do you think that we've got enough depth to go forward? Because Craig mentioned there a number of teams, going for the top 4. And I must admit, let me say this, before the season started, I thought the Spurs had no chance of getting anywhere near the top 4. Yes, we've started the season really well. And although I want to get carried away, I'm not getting carried away because I just do worry about the injuries, because 1 or 2 injuries to key players here could be a disaster for us.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think when I was on previous pod, I think for me, I was thinking top 5. I think that would be a good season for us. But already the way it's kind of panning out, Man United have been out of sorts, and obviously Chelsea didn't necessarily see them going the way they've gone. So they've obviously now got a gap to bridge. But yeah, I think the depth is a concern. I think for us, it's key almost getting through that Christmas period now, up to the January window. If we can kind of avoid injuries. My real concern is obviously in that back line. If we lose Van de Ven or Romero to kind of any lengthy injury, or Maddison, real concern. I think obviously Bentancur will be coming back in, which is obviously going to, hopefully he'll still be the same player, because let's be honest, if we get that Bentancur back, that's adding some real quality back into the midfield and depth. We've obviously got Saar, we've got Skip. So I think the midfield's okay. It's that back line that really causes me concern. So I think we've really got to try and get to that January window without any major injuries, and then go again, try and strengthen. And as Andrew's already said, it's going to probably be 2 or 3 windows before he really gets his squad where he wants it, his players. But yeah, I think coming back to your question about the Carabao Cup, I was really, really disappointed that night. Coming home from Craven Cottage, it was not the changes. That was a bit of a surprise. And I think, like all fans, I wanted us to give that a go. And it's not so many games to get to the final. Given our squad and how things are panning out now with the rest of the league, may well kind of play into our favour. And I think where we are, and having, as I think Josh, you were saying, obviously giving that week preparation for each fixture really gives the guys time to figure out their tactics, how they're going to shape up against the opposition, and really go and attack week in, week out.
Craig, let's come to you. The referee for the Spurs-Liverpool game will be Simon Hooper. His assistants will be Adrian Holmes and Simon Long. The 4th official will be Michael Oliver. VAR, Darren England, and his assistant will be Dan Cook. What did you make of the referee last week against Arsenal in the North London derby? Because the fans around me at the Emirates were far from happy with his performance.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I felt exactly the same. I can't really add to that. I just thought it was very poor performance from a referee that you should have had a top-notch referee in charge of that game, and he got so much wrong. He could have spoiled the game, couldn't it? There was how on earth? I'm sure we spoke about it before, but how on earth was that not a red card on Vicario? That Jesus tackle, that was a leg breaker. That was what, and they've admitted as such that it should have been a red. I think who's the guy on Sky that looks at it and says it should have been a red? The Mike Dean, isn't it? He said it should have been a red. So there was just so.
How can you forget him?
Yeah. How can I forget him? He did us a favour once, didn't he? Yeah. He was quite a good ref for us. But the handball. I mean, what do you guys think? Was that handball? Do you think it was handball? By the letter of the law, it was. And if it was up the other end, we would have been shouting and screaming if it hadn't been given against us. I know I would have been. But,
I think technically, yeah.
How many handballs are deliberate? If you want to say people say it should only be for deliberate, how many times do you see somebody deliberately handball it?
But there's no common sense now, Craig, is there? With this handball, if it's handball, if it's hit the hand, no matter what the reason is, it's handball. That's the rule.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know what you do. I don't know what the answer is, because I seem to think we always had it's subjective handball. It always has been, but we never had these conversations years ago, did we? You might say, "Oh, that should never have been handball." But perhaps that's because we get so many video replays, and we've got VAR now, and because everybody's got an opinion, perhaps that's why. I don't know. I don't know what the rule should be with handball, because I actually don't know what the rule is now, if I'm honest.
Craig, I
Postecoglou said the same.
You know what? I've said this before as well. There's a lack of transparency with VAR, especially with a lot of the fan. Like, we don't know what rule is what now, because nothing really makes sense, and there's no common sense, and everything's kind of. You've got the European handball law, which is going to be different in the Champions League, and then things get given in the Champions League that don't get given in the Prem. What there needs to be is a bit like in cricket with DRS, where you have an official who comes onto the screen or whatever. It doesn't have to be just an audio, and it'll say, look, we're looking at this decision. This is what we're looking at. This is our decision. It's a handball. Tell the law, say why they've given it. 10 seconds. It should be really quick. It works really well in cricket, for example, with the decision referral system. VAR is so untransparent, even now when they've tried to kind of make it a bit more like, it was so opaque before, but they've improved it a little bit. But they've got to go further. They've got to be way more radical, I think, with VAR. And I just think the referees are still getting away with shockers. And that red card on Vicario, that is one of the worst challenges I've seen. That he didn't even get booked for it, I don't think. Or did he? I'm not sure. But I
think he got booked. I think he got
a yellow, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think.
Why is that not goal?
It was reckless. That challenge was absolutely reckless for me. That one on Vicario.
Shocking.
It was a red. I think with the VAR, I think almost the technology is not the issue, it's the people using it. That's what gets me. And when you're getting these decisions, that with that penalty, talking nearly 3 minutes to come to a decision, and it just can't be right. And then they kind of then bat it back to the referee. You go to the monitor, so he's then backed into a corner. It just doesn't work for me as it is. And like you say, Craig and Josh, no transparency around it. You don't really know what is handball. And shoe was on the other foot. If that happened to us, we'd be screaming for a penalty, admittedly. I just think it's the fact that they take so long to come to a conclusion on it. And if you're having that long a deliberation on it, it's clearly not working, is it? You've got to question that.
When people go into stadiums to watch rugby, they can get the headphones and listen to the referees and what they're saying. And of course, you hear that a lot on the TV as well. Would you like to hear what the referees are saying? If you had the chance to have the earphones in the stadium to hear the referee, would you like to do that, Matt?
I would. I'm not so sure it'd be a good idea, that, but yeah, I think it would, because it would give you a better understanding of what's going on, and it's that transparency piece, right? You understand why they're doing what they're doing and making the decisions they're making. Well, at the moment, I haven't got a clue. Even if you're watching it on telly or if you're in the stadium, there's the discussion behind. You just don't know what's going on. And it should be clear and obvious errors, right? So if they're clear and obvious errors, they shouldn't be taking 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to come to a decision. It needs to be looked at, definitely.
There should be, Matt, funny you say that, right? I think, I've always said this, they need to put a time limit on any decision, and if that time limit elapses, you go with the on-field decision. And that's it. And that way, regardless of how bad or everybody knows what's going on. And I think they should show on screens around the football grounds what we see at home when we watch it on the telly. Because, and I get it that Old Trafford and Liverpool, bizarrely, are the only two stadiums that haven't got big screens, if you can believe that. But, they get them put in then, I'm sure they can afford it.
Doesn't it seem funny, though, Craig, the fact that when VAR come in, it was all about clear and obvious, but nothing seems to be now clear and obvious. It's gone completely out the window.
Yeah, but what does that mean exactly? You're 100% right. What does that mean? A clear and obvious error? Well, a clear and obvious error.
A fast decision.
It's a fast decision, but a clear and obvious error is that the Jesus tackle could have broken Vicario's leg. Therefore, it's serious foul play, and he should have got sent off. That was a clear and obvious error. It couldn't be any more clear and obvious, Do
you worry, though? Because I don't know whether you've seen the clip of Manchester United when they played Wolves. And Wolves should have had a penalty. Onana come out and clattered the player. Yes. And they justified that was not a penalty. Does that worry you?
I watched it. Yeah, I watched it on Sky. Was doing a thing where it was ref watch or something, or VAR watch. I can't remember. I think the head referee was on it, and I can't remember his name. Big bloke, bald head, not me. Before anybody says anything. He was on Brookside. So he was on there, And you're right. Now that he completely poleaxed the bloke, he could have knocked him out, couldn't he?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that, you know, when that one, the Vicario one, I looked back on that and I thought, well, that's a red. He's gone there. How? And then you think, he's one of those decisions where you look on in shock and you think, how in the name of Christ can they not give that? And it's not just us. There's been decisions all season like that.
That was particularly bad, though, that one. That was particularly bad, that one. Wasn't it? He was totally out of control, late. It was reckless. Yeah. And if he got injured and been cropped at him, then they may have looked at it a bit more. But yeah, so I don't know how that wasn't a red, because he was absolutely out of control when he made contact.
Craig, I want to come back to you. Lastly, I want to talk about the defence. Of course, you've got Van de Ven and Romero in the middle, your doggy on the left, and either Porro or Emerson on the right. Do you think that Emerson is going to get many games this season, or do you think that the number one choice is Pedro Porro? And in a game like this against Liverpool, who should start on the right side?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Porro's got the shirt at the moment, if I'm honest, because he's been putting in some good performances. And I think it will remain that way until he has a couple of stinkers. I think Porro will get the nod tomorrow, bluntly, against Liverpool. As much as Emerson Royal has improved so much, you know, on here we used to have many conversations about Emerson Royal. You know, I was he's up there for me. Got a signed picture of him as well, so you know he's the GOAT. Let's face it. But no, I do love Emerson. But Porro's got the shirt at the moment, and he's got to get that back. How do you get that back? By getting game time, and he doesn't really seem to be getting the chances. So there's that argument: don't never change a winning team. I know we drew last week, but we obviously forced into a change with Johnson. But I just think he'll go with the same back four. I think it's all about partnerships, and I think Porro will get the nod tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Josh, it does seem that the team just almost picks itself now. You know, apart from an injury, the team just picks itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, they've all got quality. That's the thing. They're all absolutely fantastic players. And like I said earlier, with Udogie picks himself. Porro being fantastic. You're not going to change those two centre backs. Midfield again, you can't drop any of them. No one can really be dropped. They've all been performing superbly well. It makes such a change from where we used to kind of muck around with the defence. I remember Conte and Mourinho chucking Sanchez in there, and then Dyer would come in, and there was no consistency. It was never homogenous, and now we feel like a side. We've grown into a side literally within 6 games or whatever, which is absolutely mental. This side has just grown into one, and it's really important that it stays that way. And I agree with what you said earlier. With if injuries come along, what impact is that going to have on the 11 as a whole? And I want to shout out as well Vicario. I think that's a really big position. Obviously, losing Hugo Lloris. Yeah. And that's been coming for a while because obviously Forster played quite a lot last year, and it all went downhill with Lloris with that game in Newcastle and conceding 6 goals, etc. And it's a very sad end to his Tottenham career because he's been a fantastic servant for the club. But Vicario's just come in, and I wasn't sure about him. A lot of people weren't sure about him. A bit like Postecoglou in pre-season, he looked a bit rash. First couple of games, he looked a bit nervous. He's solid. He's really established himself, and even fans from other teams have also started saying, and that's a sign when you get fans from other teams noticing that he's actually got some quality in him, and he looks like he's a great shot stopper, and he's an acrobatic goalkeeper, and he's quite big, and he's been fantastic, Chris. And I think he's really decent keeper, and I don't think he made really any terrible mistakes against Arsenal. I think he did pretty well. And there was a save he made where he got down, I think it was to his right-hand side in the second half that Arsenal had this really good shot, and he made a great save. So yeah, I've been really impressed, and I think a lot stems from the goalkeeper. When you're in a defence and the way that we're playing at the back, that I think he deserves quite a lot of credit. Like, he picked up Romero, didn't he? After Romero scored an own goal, he picked him up, and he's already got that kind of leadership presence. I'm really happy. I'm very happy, and I think hopefully this weekend he can do the same job again, and we'll be all right.
The way he celebrates goals as well, it means a lot to him and the team. Josh, do you find these podcasts a lot easier when we're doing well?
Yeah, it's difficult to be negative all the time. Like, I remember coming on. I remember some of those podcasts we did in lockdown, and when it was behind closed doors, and it was just very negative. And when all these managers are being sacked, and it's difficult. I mean, that's not Tottenham. That's not what I associated when I used to watch Tottenham with my granddad in the living room when I was a bit younger, under Poch and before that. And it's just not what I associated with Tottenham. It felt abnormal. And as Daniel Levy said, when they did that fan forum kind of thing, there's been mistakes with management, and people were lying behind his back, and there's all sorts of skullduggery's been going on. But now it feels like we have got our Tottenham back. I feel more positive. It is easier to have a chat. Although I was very jealous the other night because I'm at uni in Exeter, and they knocked out Luton out of the Carabao Cup right in front of, like, we could hear it. We could hear it at the ground. I thought, oh, I'd love Tottenham to get that Carabao Cup trophy, get a league cup. I think we could have done it under Postecoglou, and obviously Man City got knocked out. We would have had a great chance if we got through against Fulham. But yeah, fair play to Exeter to get a great result against a Prem side. But that did make me feel very jealous as a Spurs fan, because I think we could have been up there. But hopefully, we've got, obviously, FA Cup hasn't started yet. And when that comes along, he's got to learn, Postecoglou, from that mistake that he made in the Carabao Cup. Hopefully he actually goes, right, full strength in FA Cup. We've got to go for it, because it's literally that or nothing. I don't think we're going to win the Prem. Obviously, I've seen a lot of stuff on all sorts of like social media saying, "Can we do it? Can we?" Like all these funny tweets coming out, but I'm not sure we can. So I think we've got to throw it all at the FA Cup. That's my opinion now. With no letting up on the FA Cup, no getting knocked out by Colchester, no getting knocked out by Sheffield United, etc. We've got to go for it. I think we can do it. I've got a weird feeling that Postecoglou, he's going to be the manager to win us a trophy.
He's done it. He's mentioned the trophy word over an hour in.
Done it.
He's done it.
I've really calmed down on using that word on this channel so far this season, and yeah, you brought it over an hour in. Matt, let's start the score predictions off with you. Tottenham v Liverpool on Saturday in the Premier League. Who is going to win this game?
Dear me. My head's telling me it could be a 2-2 draw, but I think we'll take the game to them. I'm going to go with 2-1 Tottenham, and I fancy Richarlison to get a goal as well. So yeah, go for the win. We're overdue a win. We need some luck against them. We're in good form. So are they. But we're at home, and I think the fans can push them over the line. So 2-1 for me, Chris.
Matt, when you think of this fixture, Spurs-Liverpool, either at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, White Hart Lane or Anfield, what's your favourite memories of this fixture?
I think I'd probably go back to Klinsmann and Sheringham in the Cup.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's got to be that for me.
Yeah.
These other games, obviously, I always remember the 4-0 at home when we had Modric, well, that rocket was right behind that on the shelf. Adebayor, I think for memory, that was his home debut. So yeah, but I think for me, it's got to be Klinsmann and Sheringham in the Cup. Great times.
Yeah. Craig, what score prediction are you going with?
I'm going to go with a deluded, probably Tottenham 3-2 win. I think there'll be a lot of goals in this game. I think it'll be end to end. But I think we'll just have enough, and the fans will get us over the line. But I think it's going to be a tight one. If you're asking me my memories, again, that cup game was fantastic. I remember that vividly. The game at Wembley, I thought that was a cracking game, obviously because we won. Wenyama's goal, was it Wenyama? Yeah. The Thunder, that was fantastic. We've had so many chances, even at Anfield, to nick the wins, haven't we? Harry Kane missed a penalty, I remember, once at Anfield, and then scored in the last minute. Scored another one in the last minute. Same game. Yeah. And like last year, even we've had our chances. what we've got to do, what we've got to start doing, and what has got to change is the results against the top six, if you like, the big clubs. That's the games we've got to start tackling and taking points away from. Because other than bizarrely Manchester City, as everyone will know, we just the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Liverpools, the Uniteds. You know, it's a crazy stat, in it. But that is what we've got to start doing. So yeah, 3-2 Tottenham.
Do you know, I'm going to go 4-3 Tottenham. I think there's going to be goals.
Excellent.
And Eric Edmond, he scored a fantastic goal at Anfield. Naeem scored a fantastic goal at White Hart Lane. I think that was the first Premier League season. We've scored some great goals against Liverpool, actually, over the years. Josh, what are you going with?
I agree with Craig. I think it's going to be 3-2. That's what my heart's telling me. Lots of goals. Salah on the score sheet. And I think we're going to win it in the 89th minute. I think we're going to get a late winner. We're going to punish them like they've punished us in the past. Hopefully it's a bit of a reversal of fortunes game, whether that be Richarlison or Sonny or whoever. But I would love to see us get over the line, and that is what my heart's telling me, a 3-2. And yeah, that'll be brilliant, Chris. And obviously goal, talking of memories, that Wanyama goal, and if I remember rightly, Carrier saved a Kane penalty, who obviously went on in his Liverpool career, kind of petered out. But that was a great game, and what a goal from Wanyama. And that 4-1 game at Wembley, amazing game. I remember watching that. But yeah, the rest of them, I think they're a bit before my time. I'm a bit younger. I'm a bit a younger Tottenham fan. But yeah, lots of bad memories playing Liverpool. I went up there to Anfield when we got a 1-1 draw under Conte. That was I enjoyed that game. But my memory is full of university work. I can't remember exactly who scored in that game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to get the win. And come on, you Spurs.
Matt, you like me travel all over the country watching Tottenham. The amount of times you and I have been up to Liverpool and seen very little points come back.
It's overdue. I think so many. Last year was a tough one to take. Dying seconds, claw your way back to 3-3.
Yeah,
and we know what happened then. But then I remember going the Wanyama game. You touched on it, Craig. That was a great game and should have won that day. I think there was one game when we had when we were in that partial lockdown as well under Mourinho, and we were flying high at that point, and that undone us at the end. We just need a bit of luck. I think we've had rotten luck in this fixture. So yeah, overdue. I think the fans will get right behind them tomorrow, definitely. And no excuses. We had the week to prepare. Hopefully, we've got Maddison back. He's going to be starting. And Basuma win that midfield battle and give it a go. Yeah,
well said, Matt. Matt, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Where can people find you on social media?
On the Twitter handle there, MJ_THFC. So feel free to follow me.
Matt, thank you so much. And Craig, thanks for joining us again. What are you up to at the moment? Where can people find you?
Just looking forward to Tottenham playing tomorrow and watching the Ryder Cup at the weekend. So, it's a really good sporting weekend, as I say. If you want to follow me, that'd be great, at DM9 on X. That'd be lovely. But thanks for having me on again, Chris, and come on, you Spurs.
Thank you, Craig. And Josh, where can people find you? Are you back on Twitter? Are you back on X yet?
I've got to sort it out. I've got like a temporary kind of thing, but I'm going to create a proper account so people can find me off this and post more about Tottenham. But yeah, you can find me Josh Calm on Instagram if you're really desperate to do a follow. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on, Chris. It's always good to have a chat and gets me fired up. I'm really excited now. It's been a busy week and lots of work, so it'll be hopefully some smiles when Tottenham play, some nerves and some smiles. Obviously, I hope everyone has a good time who goes and has a nice beer and enjoys the game. I've got too much work to do it at uni, bit of a nightmare, but I'm hoping to go up soon and hopefully see you all there.
Yes, well, good luck with your uni work, Josh, and thanks so much for coming back on. Craig, Josh, and Matt, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we will be back Saturday evening after the Tottenham Liverpool game, where hopefully Spurs have picked up another 3 points in the Premier League, and we will go into that Luton game next week unbeaten, hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, here is to a good performance, 3 points, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, come on you Spurs.
Oh, Spurs.